participants. We have people from Japan and Mexico. And not to mention, I'm driving the trophy truck this year, so I'm in a 700 horsepower all-wheel drive Chevrolet Team McPherson. I mean, I'm ready to go racing.
We'll certainly be watching. For you, Ivan, what's your take?
Well, Todd, I've always liked Laughlin. It's short, it's fast, it's violent, only 13-mile laps. You got 16 different classes broken into 6 different groups. You know, the track is fantastic. It's great for the spectators. There's a nice grandstand area. There's some big jumps right in front of the spectators. The course goes back up and winds through some washes, some big rock washy areas, and high-speed run right down through the pits there, a couple of highway crossings, back into the finish line again. I think it's going to be about 12, 14-minute laps, and you're going to see about an average 65 miles an hour. And I'll guarantee you some great racing.
All right, with that, let's head to the desert and the race. Laughlin lies alongside the Colorado River in southern Nevada, offering year-round water sports activities, as well as the lure of first-rate hotels and casinos. The racers really look forward to coming to Laughlin because it's a great place to take a few days and relax with the family. Larry, it looks like there are some new cars going through contingency.
Yeah, you're right, Todd. This is the Friday before the race weekend. Technical inspection, an opportunity to show off new cars. Here we have the Riviera car. It's a brand new four-wheel drive, open, unlimited car.
Larry, this is the truck you almost drove. It's a new McPherson all-wheel drive S10, state-of-the-art entry in the limited truck class.
And the pits were alive with talk about the new Enduro Racing Unlimited truck. Enduro won the class in 1998 with an 8-year-old race truck and spent much of the year designing and building this high-tech racer. We covered the beginning stages of construction on one of our earlier shows.
This is really a beautiful truck. As you see, lots of carbon fiber. The driver sits right in the center. It's got an LCD instrument panel like the Indy cars use. Big twin overhead cam valve Ford motor, lots and lots of horsepower. I expect a lot from this truck. This is really should perform well. I know they would like to have had a little bit more test time, but it looks awfully good.
And the excitement started on Thursday night with the infamous Laughlin $25,000 Pit Crew Challenge and Laughlin Leap. Now, Larry, what goes on here?
Well, it's a timed event, and it's split up between the buggies and the trucks, and a cash prize of $3,000 to each division winners. You can see the carpet that we had to drive up on. That's when your time started. You have to change all 4 tires, get it back on the ground, and drive off the carpet. You can't leave any nuts and bolts. Dale Eberts of Canyon Lake, California, he won the buggy division. It just took him only 49 seconds. Great time.
And he collected the prize. Now, Ivan, tell us about the Laughlin Leap.
Well, this is a really popular event where the guys on the night before the race come out, open trucks and buggies, fly as far as they can. Whoever jumps the farthest picks up $1,000. Larry Rossler flies 140 feet. Extremely popular. A lot of fun to watch.
Having a look at Larry's jump, and stay tuned for the start of the 1999 Laughlin Desert Challenge off-road race. Back to the Speed Vision coverage of the 1999 Laughlin Desert Challenge held in Laughlin, Nevada. And the sun is just starting to rise, and already the first group of cars are lining up for the start.
Todd, I think you guys might need some headlights for the start of this race.
Race started at 6:30 a.m. on both Saturday and Sunday. Now, the combined times of both days' races will determine the overall winner in each class, with spectators already lining the hillside overlooking the infield. This course, Larry, is fabulous.
Yeah, you can see it's about 13 miles. The first road crossing is a designated pit area on Needles Highway. Then we make a small loop and work our way back towards the pits and then into the infield where the start-finish line area is.
The first group off was made up of cars in the 5, 1600, 9, and 11 class. Now, Ivan, big difference from what we'll see later on in the show.
Well, these are entry-level race cars. It's been around for probably 25 or 30 years. The 5, 1600, small CC motors. A lot of fun to drive. They're not the fastest, obviously, the least amount of wheel travel of the race cars that are out there, but still a lot of fun to drive. Very challenging.
Well, it's a very familiar look. You know, a lot of people build pre-runner, Baja bugs, they call them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Timed event with 30 seconds between starts. Now, you guys have been racing a long time. How many passes do you expect to see in this kind of class?
As far as passing, there's very competitive. There's a lot of passing going on depending on the amount of wind and dust on the course. But they'll do 3 laps, I believe, and they have 85 minutes to complete their race. You can see there by the limited amount of wheel travel how the back of the race car will bounce up and down. These guys are every bit as serious as any of the other competitors out there, wouldn't you say, Larry?
You can hear the RPMs. They're running them hard.
They are.
As far as comfort goes, these don't compare to like a trophy truck, though.
Not quite the comfort, but you know, the technology's come up quite a ways with the shocks and what have you.
That takes us to the start of Class 9, original buggy class. And Larry, what kind of limitations are we looking at here?
Well, you notice they have steel rims, single shock. This chassis is an older design. It's, like Ivan said earlier, the other class, they've been around for many, many years. It's more of an entry level.
1,600 cc motors, small, first class 11 car.
In Class 11's even more entry. I mean, it's amazing these vehicles can even make it around some of the race courses.
Pretty much a stock, not even a Baja Bug, stock Volkswagen that they've, you know, put shocks on and air cleaner and race the heck out of them.
Visibility getting a little bit better as the sun continues to rise up. Now, they got a bit of travel.
You have to drive the race car within its limitations and its wheel travel. And as you notice, you'll see them kick and bounce, as I mentioned before, as they come across even a little road crossing.
I was going to comment too, Ivan. You can see the sun is just right in their eyes. They're approaching this road crossing, and those holes.
Some sort of a problem to be passing that quick. The other thing that we notice in off-road racing, we really want to have somebody got to look like a flat tire possibly in the left front there. The other is you notice the wind isn't blowing too much, Larry. So that dust is kind of hanging. That makes it really tough.
Yeah, it makes it tough. First thing in the morning like that with the sun, very difficult.
What kind of speeds are we looking at here, gentlemen?
Right here, about 25 or 30. You know, it's all the same thing. Larry will, I'm sure, will agree, is that you're working within a limitation of wheel travel and horsepower and those things. In fact, right there's an example of wheel travel, so not much, as you notice the kick in the back.
And here are the race results of group number 1. First in Class 5 1600 is Carlos Uribe. First in Class 9 is Jimmy Messick. And first in Class 11 is Eric Solorzano. Get ready for Group 2 in the very quick Class 10 cars, coming to you right after this. And Class 5 and Class 12, the so-called score lights.
You can see these race cars are quite a bit faster here. This is the Class 10 cars.
Yeah, A-arm front end, a lot more wheel travel.
Getting some pretty good speed out of these race cars now. Good motors. Are getting some factory motors participation in this class.
It's a strange-looking contraption, but that suspension is amazing. And here we're going to have a pass.
Yeah, Danny Anderson, I mean, there's not much room in off-road racing. A little tap to the rear, and the guy moves over, and there he goes.
That's how it was done. That was a good pass, let me tell you. Especially for the amount of dust. As we mentioned before, the wind isn't quite blowing yet. Still pretty early in the morning. Good-looking Chinooth car here. I can tell by the looks of that race car it's a Chinooth.
This is car 503, George Seeley of Glendale, California. Now, George, too, is a tough competitor and a past class champion.
George's been around a long time now. We've seen the typical example of Class 11, 5, 1600. These are the Baja Bug. This is the transition we've had over the last 25 years. It's pretty fast race cars here.
Yeah, this is pretty much an unlimited Baja Bug class.
Yes, it is.
Well, as you said at the start of the show, a lot of competition in these classes. You can see them bunching together. No one's giving anything up.
No, that's right. Now, you notice these race cars are what we call the Class 12s. If you look at the front end, they have what we call a beam front end. It doesn't have an A-arm, and it's the old Volkswagen style, but very competitive class here. These are older cars, but boy, these guys really go for it.
Yeah, Jeff Caywell there. Notice coming up to this road cross and the car in front of him with the flat, little sideways there. The pavement is actually eroded from the dirt.
But you know, these race cars are handling good, Larry. They're not letting off for that road crossing. Jerry Pinhall, been around a long time.
Hitting it real good.
Now, these are two-seat or single-seat.
Well, the race results of Group 2 after 5 laps. First in Class 10 was Chris Harold. Winning Class 5 was George Seeley Jr. And the Class 12 winner was Jeff Caywell. Now it's the start of Group 3. Now, Group 3 will run 4 laps, and it consists of Class 1, 2, 1600 with 25 entries. Now, guys, this is a big field of entries.
It really is one of the biggest. Now, 1, 2, 1600 means exactly that. 1 seat, 2 seat, 1600 cc motors. A lot of fun. Entry level again, very, very competitive class.
Yeah, very limited on travel, but everybody's really in equal equipment.
A real driver's class.
Arden Dennington from Tracy, California, getting away. That's really going to bunch up the racing, though, with that many cars on the course at one time.
Well, they're starting here every 30 seconds, and they have 4 laps in the 85 minutes.
Becky Freeman, last year's points champion, by the way. Becky does one heck of a job.
And she won the 98 Baja 1000, so she certainly has the credentials. And the speeds they're carrying here, amazing as they come to this crossing.
Wow, that looked pretty cool. I like the carried that front end all the way across the road.
Well, at the second road crossing, it's downhill, and you're carrying a lot of speed. You notice to the right-hand side, it's a little bit smoother over there.
Larry, those kind of things that you know as a driver, that's probably where you fly the best, I'm sure. Good handling race cars.
With so much weight in the back, is that almost a hazard, though, coming up on a lip like that and launching yourself?
No, actually, that's an asset, I feel. It typically keeps that front end from falling, and it helps you hold that front end up, especially when you have very little horsepower these engines make.
Yeah, you're better off with the front end up than down.
We've all done that before. That's real uncomfortable. Larry, you ever done this?
Well, actually, I haven't, but very popular scene here with the buggy, with being hardly any weight in the front end, driving in with no tire on it.
Now, he's come up the road crossing, and he's looking for his pits, and there they were.
And the race results for Group 3. The 1-2-1600 class found Vic Bruckman in first. Second went to Craig Forrest. Third to Dale Ebert. Fourth to Arden Dennington. And fifth to last year's champion, Becky Freeman. Speaking of Becky, here's how it looks inside her car. We'll meet her when we come back. Becky grew up with off-road racing, and it was obvious from early on that she wanted to drive. And her father, Ken, an icon in the sport of off-road racing, gave her the chance. Becky grew up in the sport, loving cars and racing in the desert. Shown here with her mom, Becky's first drive was in the family's 1-2-1600 buggy.
Well, my mom and dad have raced since before I was born, and I was introduced to racing for the Mint 400. I was 3 months old, and my dad was pre-running the race, and my mom drove him while he held me so that I could go around. That was my first experience racing. My parents had a 1600 that they had from way back when. It was way outdated, and they decided to go ahead and get it ready for me. And I drove that. For the first 2 races, I drove that car by myself. Then that car was so old, they decided that they'd better do something else for me and help me get into a newer 16. And actually, my dad and I were partners at that time. We raced together. I'd race half, and he'd race half. And that lasted for about 4 or 5 years. And then we got to the point where when we were doing driver's changes, we were losing races from the time factor involved in doing a driver's change. So they kind of said, here, you need to go out there and drive this race by yourself, and let's see where we end up. And we won a few races, so I haven't let them get back in the car since.
The first time we saw her was at the 1997 Prim 300. She ran a great race, leading it most of the way. And the 1-2-1600 class always has a lot of entries, anywhere from 10 to 30 racers. So it is a very competitive class. With the finish line in sight, a rear torsion bar broke, and she had to slow down. She finished a close second, but gave notice to all the guys that she was a threat in Class 1-2-1600. In 1998, Becky bought a brand new car and started testing, putting over 2,500 test miles, and that's as much as an entire season of racing. Adam Wick is her co-driver and engine builder. He gives us his view on her ability.
She's definitely a threat. She's as fast as anybody on any given day, all depending on the conditions and how her car's set up and how she feels.
As a female, it's tough to be out there racing against the males. They definitely don't want me to beat them. And a lot of people wonder if I should be out there racing against them. And I have to go out and I have to prove a point. I think I have. I think they realize that I'm going to be a main contender when we go to the races.
At the 1998 Prim 300, Becky was having the best season of her life. She ran strong all day and finished second. The second place tied her in points for the class championship with 1 race to go in the season. The last race, the grueling Baja 1000.
I think she loves the challenge. As a woman, I mean, she really enjoys going out and racing with all the guys and showing them that she can run with them, run up front, and be a threat.
Becky had never run the legendary Baja 1000, and 1998 called for the race to run the entire length of the Baja Peninsula, 1,050 miles of the toughest terrain on the planet. And on top of all this, Becky was tied for the points championship with the past 1-2-1600 champion, Jason Hatz. Down the peninsula, she and Jason were 1 and 2. A third of the way into the race, however, Jason had some major problems, eliminating him from contention. And Becky Freeman raced her way into the history books, winning her class in the 1998 Baja 1000. At the year-end awards presentation, Becky was really surprised when she won 1998 SCORE Rookie of the Year, a well-deserved award for this female rookie.
Class 1-2-1600, Becky Freeman.
Later in the evening, she was presented with the coveted Toyota Milestone Award. Becky finished every one of the 2,483 race miles in 1998.
Ladies and gentlemen, Becky Freeman.
And the final award in her Triple Crown evening was the most prized of all, the 1998 Score 1-2-1600 Class Championship. Becky Freeman, the first female in the history of off-road racing to ever win a class championship. And Becky, she's always ready with the right words.
Just an incredible year. You know, we won the championship. That's what our goal was, and went out and we made it happen. We put
A great spokesperson for the sport. And the future?
Racing was there for me.
I think Becky definitely has a future in racing if Becky wants a future in racing. I think that's the key. And she definitely loves to race. She'll definitely put the time in it. She definitely has a talent. And so she can take it as far as she wants to.
Yes, I want to go racing. I want to race anybody, anytime, anywhere. I want to go racing.
Don't go away. Up next are the unlimited classes in the 1999 Laughlin Desert Challenge. Desert Challenge and the start of the unlimited open-wheeled cars. Here's last year's class champion.
With, I think, 40 cars on a 13-mile course, it's going to be really dusty. It's going to be a lot of patience today.
The course is really rough with all the different classes, so many laps, it's getting chewed up. Today it's probably going to be really bad. It'll be just a big plus to make it to the finish, to stay with a group of people.
Extremely rough, very chewed up after having all these races before us and yesterday afternoon. It should be worse this morning.
Well, 40 entries in this unlimited class, extremely competitive. Now, they're going to set them off every 15 seconds. That spells lots of dust, very close racing. This almost qualifies as a SIG alert.
Boy, let me tell you, whenever they start that close together, there's going to be a tremendous amount of dust, especially the amount of speed these race cars carry.
Yeah, we got Jerry Welchel here. Now, remember, 15 seconds, it's because the lead cars would have been coming around and they would have been lapping stage cars.
That's exactly right. That's a good point, Larry. The last thing we'd want is the finishers to come up and be running to the back of the line. John Herter, brand new Jimco here.
You know he's going to be running hard.
Yeah, John has always been a tough competitor. Gus Vildosala from La Jolla, California.
I believe he's in the process of building a new car for the San Felipe race.
That's exactly right. Jerry Welchel. Jerry's always been a competitor. When you get him in a short course or stadium race, he's a rocket.
Yeah, he probably really enjoyed this format.
Yeah, he did. More traffic and more passing and more dicing. He loves that. Always been fast, no matter whatever he drives. Ryan Arciero. Actually, this is Bob Gordon's race car, Cheneth, and Ryan Arciero driving.
Yeah, Toyota V6, Ivan?
Yes, that sounds familiar to me, by the way.
Look how low that sits. And there you get a good idea of the suspension travel when he lifts off there.
Listen to the engine. I get a little bit of a thrill out of watching how over the years the engines have changed from Volkswagen powered to Porsche powered to V8 powered to V6.
Constantly tinkering. This is Car 101. Pat Dean from Las Vegas, sporting the sponsorship from the Orleans Hotel.
And here's some horsepower right here. Troy Herbst. Probably 700 horsepower. Watch the in-car on the inside. Watch the ride quality across these jumps now. This thing should be really smooth. Boy, you talk two-wheel drive, Larry, is a lot of people think they're four-wheel. Boy, look at that. That's a beautiful jump, isn't it? One of the few four-wheel drives is the truck that you drive.
Yeah, you know, the four-wheel drive, it pulls you through those corners. Not as much wheel spin in the rear. You know, your acceleration is faster.
And it's easier on the drivetrain. Who's this now? We got a problem already.
This is Corey Sheeler, car 121, and he has come to a dead stop.
That's too bad there.
Ooh, Troy Herbst on a mission, bumping cars already.
Yeah, the TCS car, little tap to get around them.
Now, passing's got to be just almost impossible this course with this many cars.
Well, you know what he's doing? He's taking advantage of all the wheel travel he's got and the horsepower in these real rough sections right off the bat. What, the first 2 or 3 miles are really a lot of rough stuff through there, and he's taking advantage of that.
Now, Larry, this looks like a tricky corner. They're coming in fast on this left.
Well, it is a high-speed corner. With that left turn, it's onto like gravel, hard pack. It doesn't appear to be very rutted, but it really is.
Ronnie Wilson.
And the last thing you want to do is put it on its side. So I know everybody's thinking about that.
Well, did you notice, Troy, there, how careful he was in the dust? He had to break out of the dust.
Car 106, yeah, Charlie Townsley.
Las Vegas, Nevada. Acura V6 engine in this one.
Yeah, great shot watching the suspension work.
I love to watch the suspension. This is a beautiful car here. This is the new Chineth. Josh Waddell. Beautiful car. Mid-engine. See, there's no engine hanging out the back of this one. What they call mid-engine. The engine's right behind the driver.
Well, here's the story. Car 100, the Herps, they are certainly, as you pointed out, Ivan, on a mission. They started in 13th, moved up to 3rd, which puts him in the lead overall. Now, he has turned the fastest lap so far at 64 miles an hour. That's an average. As they get ready to come up on that second road crossing, he is absolutely flying.
Well, that is amazing. I got a chance to pre-run this race course. This thing is not smooth, right? This is a rough race course.
In being, that many races, that many classes, the course definitely deteriorated. Look at the second road crossing here.
He is flying.
With the spectators standing alongside pit lane, Troy Herps looks as though he's heading for another victory. We'll return to Laughlin with more racing action after this short break. Stay with us. The spectators great seats for free, and Laughlin provides some of the very best sights. We're back to racing in the unlimited open wheel class. As we pointed out, 40 entries in this class, making the racing very crowded indeed as the gentlemen come in to the closed area. Now the course here wetted down. This has got to be somewhat of a nice break for the guys.
Well, it is. And you got John Herter here in 3rd. And like we mentioned earlier, 15 seconds apart, it's a good opportunity to close up and make a pass on a car in front of you.
Well, that's why I really get a lot of fun out of watching how different drivers, how aggressive they are, how their race cars accelerate, and how they brake, and how deep they go in the corners.
See, and leaving this section, Ivan, we had about 3 or 4 different lanes to pick from heading out into the desert.
And this is Pat Dean out with a broken wheel now. It looks like he's going to have a little bit of help here, but that's going to knock him out of the race for a while.
Yeah, this was coming up out of that bowl, they called it, up on top, and we turned on this ridge. Really rough section. And you can see how the dust is just, I mean, look how it's hanging behind the second car here.
This is Ryan Arciero trying to make a pass, and he'll pull off to the left, as you can see, to try and get out of that trail of dust. But you can't get out there too far because you never know, Larry, as well as I do, there's big rocks and there's ditches, so.
There was big rocks in this section right here. And on Sunday, there was absolutely no breeze, so you were stuck in that lane.
Nothing like being out front.
Clear skies right there.
As you can see, and you can hear the throttle, and you can watch the race car work because he's really, you can see what's coming up. That's a big part of off-road racing, being able to see and read the terrain on how to work that throttle and the brake and steering and how to get as much speed as you can on a particular piece of road.
In car 102, John Phillips. Relatively clear air he's working with, and it's got to be difficult as the Herps come plowing through. Doesn't matter if you have Oakley's best goggle on, the vision is not good.
Well, like I say, Troy Herps is looking down the racetrack. They're really hard to see.
This is like that battle, yeah, the Waddell Arciero battle moving into the infield.
And you want good position leaving this section because you want to get out into the desert and use the dust to your advantage.
Well, that's a good point, Larry. That's right. Guys get into this infield, and now's the time to make a pass because you may have to follow for another 10 or 15 miles with, without being able to see. So this take advantage of this wet track.
Well, the pass is made in the infield as they get set to make 1 or 2 more turns, and then it's back out into the wilderness. It's got to be frustrating giving up that position. This is Ronnie Wilson coming into the start-finish area and taking the Laughlin leap just ahead of him. It'll be interesting to see if he really punches it or if he lets off a little bit and saves the equipment.
Now, he has the big Chevrolet motor in this race car. Plenty of horsepower, you can hear that. But notice the front end falls off a little bit. Again, that's a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, pretty typical for the buggies, I think.
It does, depending on how they're set up, Larry, as you know.
Here comes the Herps. They will take the Laughlin leap as well. This is a V8 Ford. Ivan, I have a V8 Ford, does not do anything like this.
Well, this one's got all the factory options here. Look at that wheel travel and how that flies off that big jump.
Well, this is Pat Dean up and running again. He's got that fixed broken wheel.
Well, let me tell you, that car is working good.
Yeah,
Pat Dean has always been really fast.
I think he's trying to catch up here.
Well, that's right. He's probably down by 5 or 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Car 111.
Damon Jeffries.
And this is his new unlimited car for '98. So far, so good.
Yeah, remember earlier, the same corner, Ivan, that off camber onto the hard pack.
And that's, look how chewed up that's getting too. When it's off camber like that, that really gets chewed up.
Yeah, Jerry's running really hard there.
Sound like a big Porsche.
Back to the Herbst vehicle on course. Coming up on someone, look at the dust and look at the tap. Now that's an Ivan Stewart type tap.
No, that was not a bad one actually. We've both been on both sides of those, Larry, and that wasn't. I've seen worse than that. It felt worse than that.
Well, you know, he doesn't want to waste any time. He's, you know, it's a short race, and he made his move. He tapped him, and he's on his way.
Well, that's right. Sometimes you're too cautious, and the guy gets away from you.
You can see that
Jerry Welchel.
You notice, Todd, the concrete barriers coming into the scoring section. They wanted everybody to go slow and at a safe speed.
Good day for Jerry as he comes in and takes a checkered flag. And we asked him just how rough it was.
Track's really getting tore up bad. You know, we just had to go as good as we could and hope nothing on the car broke. And luckily, the car held together strong. It's a good car. Rough course.
Well, coming in now, a guy we saw a lot of today. This is Troy Herbst taking the checkered flag and the overall win in the unlimited open-wheeled class.
I tell you can't be upset with the Trouble Herbst guys this weekend. I mean, I think we won the weekend. I know that because if we get a third place or something, but we wanted to win every race. But we did a good job. Thanks to Ford, B.F. Goodrich, and everybody at Terrible Herbst. They did a fantastic job. And let's go to San Felipe.
The race results in the unlimited open wheel class are Troy Herbst in first, setting fast lap at 64 miles an hour and an average speed of 59.95 miles per hour. In second, John Phillips. Third goes to Ronnie Wilson. Fourth to Ryan Arciero. And fifth to Jerry Welchel and Mark Post. We'll be back after this break with the trucks up next. 99 Laughlin Score Desert Challenge, and now come the limited trucks. You're looking at truck number 700. That's Jeff Lewis. These guys can fly in these things.
Yeah, that's the new Team McPherson S10.
Craig Turner and his Ford Ranger. Screaming that motor, Larry.
It's actually a Class 7S, but he's running in Class 7. He's building a new truck.
Okay, some of these are stock 7s, some are the 7s, then we have the full 8s. Maybe we can point that out.
Yeah. Well, this is a 7S. The motor's the biggest differences in the class. They're very limited on wheel travel, engine placement, wheelbase, and width.
Yeah, this is a stock full class. It's a manufacturer's, obviously it's pretty much a stock race truck. And you can see by the amount of wheel travel, obviously they don't have a lot because they're not carrying a lot of speed nor a lot of engine.
That's 860. Mark Stein, now living in New York City. I'd love to take that vehicle in Manhattan during gridlock. Tim Casey in the Toyota 4Runner. This is an SUV. Now, how much of a difference we've seen between the stocks, the SUVs, and the trucks?
Well, they're all production-based vehicles, and really with the roll cage and all the safety harnesses, they're really a production-based vehicle.
Isuzu, owned by Bob Landrum, but John Kearney.
And here's Jeff Lewis again at the second road crossing, really getting after it.
The Kia, driven by Darren Skelton. 1998 class winner in this Kia.
They've been putting a lot of miles on that vehicle.
They really have. He's done some European racing also. Whoa, big kick there. I could see that one coming, Larry.
Here's the Isuzu Miga at the road crossing. John Kearney is not pushing it very hard at this point. Now, is that from lack of experience, or he knows the limitations of that vehicle?
You know, actually, he's got a lot of experience. It's just the limited wheel travel. That's really, that's the bottom line.
And a lot of these guys are, oh, ooh, that hurts.
Mark Turner really going on it.
You got to be careful there. You could break some suspension components.
That's that big lip on the other side of the highway you talk about that gotten eaten out from all the previous race cars.
Well, look at Manny going here. He didn't let that bump slow him down.
Manny's won a lot of races from Parker, Arizona.
And experience behind the wheel really comes into play, as you pointed out, Larry and Ivan, about that jump, really knowing how to handle it at high speeds.
And it changes with every lap as these guys run. Now, they've pre-run, but they haven't had a chance to race on it yet, so, you know, they're kind of feeling this out as they go.
Truck 707, that's Don Myers. Now here comes a familiar name. This is truck 730,
This is not Kurt Leduc,
Not
but
Kurt.
it's Kyle, his son. Now, Kurt told me that Kyle spent his evenings and weekends putting this racetrack together.
Not your typical New Yorker. Mark Stein coming through.
Jeff Lewis. Now, he's carrying quite a bit of speed here. They've got some testing to do yet, but he's always runs hard.
Yeah, this is really the first major run in this new truck, and you can tell here he's running harder than the first lap.
Little kick. We can see a little bit of work to do on the rear end of the truck anyway.
Jeff Lewis, certainly the class in the field today. Truck number 700 winning Class 7. Joel Stankovich won Class 7S. Manny Esguerra won first in stock full class. Tim Casey won in stock mini class. And Darren Skilton took first in Class 3. Coming up, the big unlimited trucks will provide some aerial acrobatics at the second road crossing. Stay tuned. Colorado River. It's time for the start of the unlimited truck class in the 1999 Laughlin Desert Challenge. And there you get a good look at the start area. Track nice, wetted down, no dust. Truck 33, the start of Todd Guttrell. This is Guttrell's pre-runner. His unlimited truck was not finished in time for the race, and he entered his pre-runner to remain in the points race for 1999.
You can tell by the sound of the engine, it just wasn't a lot of horsepower. A little more here.
Yeah, Mike Tiemann.
Lonnie Himbold, the big Dodge. There's some horsepower.
Really getting off the line. And speaking of getting on the line, our own Larry Rossler, truck 72 at the wheel, 700 horsepower strong. That Chevy all-wheel drive is flying, Larry.
Well, this is where it accelerates really good, being all-wheel drive and all that traction.
When you have good, tacky soil like that, I mean, it's really got to sit you back in the seat, that kind of acceleration.
Last year's champion in the brand new Enduro Racing Ford F-150. Just listen to the sound of that centrifugal exhaust system.
Yeah, I took a look at that, Todd. It's all 8 into 1. Very unique sound.
Plus, I believe that has an overhead cam valve motor that has that distinct sound through the exhaust.
Yeah, it's a brand new package they're working with.
Interesting point for them. The Enduro team had trouble earlier with some suspension components that could not be repaired trackside, so they basically started the race strictly for points, immediately pulled it off into the pits, but we'll watch for them at San Felipe. Truck 19, the entry of Ed and Tim Herbst. Now watch this. The suspension really is graphically illustrated here, just flying.
Oh, it feels great.
And sets it down comfortably.
Yeah, you hear it get quiet there for a little bit. Well, this is just leaving the infield and going into the desert. Those are some pretty big holes there, Ivan.
Those are much bigger than, I know they're big because like I say, I pre-run that, so it may not look like it from the air, but they're big holes.
What kind of speed are you carrying through there, Larry?
You know, right here in this section, we're probably going a good 70 miles an hour.
Boy, listen to that. Almost sounds like one of those cigar boats off of Miami.
Again, timing that throttle,
Yeah,
timing
just
those jumps.
Trying to get that traction.
Takes us to the Class 8 Fords, truck 888 of Ecology Racing in James Hall from Lake Matthews, California.
Yeah, Brian Collins. Now, in the Laughlin Leap on Friday, Brian was second in the distance.
First of the pro trucks. Looks like we have a problem with Andrew Way. Should have been first off the line.
Oh, there you go. Maybe just had a problem just getting it started, huh?
Chevrolet versus Ford. Entry level, level playing field. All the manufacturers involved. This is Larry Plank. About 400 horsepower in these trucks. Scott Steinberger, good looking Ford.
Well, the class has gained a lot of momentum. I know it's equal playing grounds like you've mentioned before, and the competition's been really close.
We've got some great racing going on between these guys.
Boy, look at the suspension travel, the technology there in that Herbst vehicle.
Yeah, this section here, Todd, is really uneven bumps. Really hard to get a rhythm section, you know, a rhythm through this section. But he's driving very aggressive.
And I imagine you got to check your speed a little bit, even though you guys have pre-run. Here's Larry. You even pre-run this course. Oh, getting a little squirrely there. How'd that feel on the kidneys?
Well, actually, you know, that was a planned move, Todd.
Well, you know, a lot of times people ask us how rough that is, but, you know, the technology has come a long ways. I know, Larry, that, you know, sometimes we play it up and it's rougher than heck, but they ride pretty good.
Well, they do, but, you know, it's These trucks make it look really easy. You know, when you make a mistake, you don't want to, you don't want that to happen at those speeds.
And use up more suspension than what the truck's got.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's when you can really start hurting your kidneys.
This is Jason Baldwin using his suspension to its limits.
You notice the guys are carrying 2 spares, a lot of them. Now, the reason for that is because you don't want to get caught out here and not be able to have 2 flat tires, for example. You can only pit at the highway crossings.
I think a lot of the setup is based on how the truck is built for other races. This format's a lot shorter format, but the suspension and spring rate, everything's designed for that extra weight.
That's right. So Larry Plank, the Pro Truck.
And that takes us to Dale White at the wheel of Brian Collins' Chevy Limited full-size truck. Going along the ridge line there. Real tricky section there. Drops off on both sides. You got to be really careful. And it looks like we've got a pass. Joe Hager passing Todd Guttrell's pre-runner.
Even though he's got less.
Well, you know, Ivan, I really made a point to get close to him here. This was the end of the first lap. I started 5th, and I really wanted to get by him so I could start the second lap with clean air.
Good point. It's tight through that concrete
Yeah,
area.
yeah, and you know, it was really awkward with the big truck. You just didn't want to hit one of them concretes.
Now, do you think he knew you were right behind him? Because he seemed like he came in awfully tentative, and then he saw you and jumped on it.
I have a feeling he knew I was there. It was pretty close right there.
Like you're trying to pinch off a little bit, Larry. Jason Baldwin was running hard.
You know, and I knew Jason was coming. He ran hard, you know, all weekend, and they inverted the start position on Sunday, so the fast guys are right behind me.
Craig Donahoe, the big Dodge.
And he's being pursued by Dale White.
Remember, Dale White's in the Class A, Donahoe in the big trophy truck.
Here we have Jason heading out into the desert section, and you can tell, you can hear him. He's running hard.
Jason's always runs hard. He knows how to stand on that gas pedal.
Giving the fans up on the cliff a good show.
Our first Pro Truck.
Joe Hager in the lead in the Pro Truck class.
Andrew Way right behind him, Ivan.
And Andrew's had probably a flat tire or something. I see that rear quarter panel's missing. Rick Johnson, a points winner last year.
Now here comes Larry up to that crossing, and looks like, Larry, you got some problems. What was going on here?
Well, unfortunately, Todd, we had, of all things, a water pump gasket go out. The motor ran hot all weekend. That's really problems on Saturday, and unfortunately for us, it was just to get a finish.
Boy, look at the Herbs just clearing it out.
Oh. I bet that's 90 miles an hour, Larry.
Yeah, he's 90 miles an hour, and he just hit it wide open.
Well, he's estimated to be 180 feet in the air. Look at
Watch this. It takes it quite well. It's amazing.
Ooh.
You notice right before the takeoff, he just gave it a little blurb of gas and just gassed it right off.
And a lot like a motorcycle, it just carries the front end.
Yeah.
So you're going to go for a finish here. More than anything, just get around and get some points.
Yeah, this was really my first time in the truck, and yeah, we finished 5th for the weekend, so that's the best we could do.
Here comes Jason Baldwin at the second road crossing. Boy, and he almost gets sideways. Now it looks like the Herps are going into the pit, and we went on down and found out what happened.
We're real not sure. The transmission got real hot, and it was starting to smoke a little bit, and it exploded back through the dipstick, and it burned Barry pretty good. The fluid did, and so we got him out of the car immediately, real quick, and luckily he wasn't burned real bad. But that cooled down and got it started, and we limped it in here and flushed the fluid and got it started again.
Well, the good word is that Barry Beecham, his co-driver, is okay. The guy who gave him the thumbs up. The bad word, Larry, you had to come in and pit.
Well, I had to take some water.
Whoa, we got sideways. Oh, that's just what you talked about you don't want to do.
Craig Donahoe, truck 17.
Well, I hope they're all right.
Boy, that was a violent crash, Ivan.
5 complete barrel rolls there. And the crew out there really quick. Look at this again. This is terrible.
See, he hits it a little sideways right there.
You just jumped kind of funny there.
Yeah.
And that's what you don't want.
Hard hit.
It couldn't quite gather up quick enough. Just when it gets this far around there, you're in big trouble.
He's definitely at the point of no return.
Boy, you can just count them off. Look at that. Now, they've got all the safety features in there. That car is built to crush around them. And hopefully it did its job on this case.
It really is. You know, we talk about off-road race cars that are, you know, they're designed to roll because that's what's going to happen in off-road racing. So you're sitting inside of a roll cage. So hopefully they're okay.
Well, that looks like a sight from a news helicopter on the 405 in California. And the word from the ground is everyone is okay. No one's seriously hurt. And that was one amazing wreck. And look at this, an amazing recovery. The Herps back on track.
And you can see, Todd, he's going slow. They put oil in the transmission, so he's also just going for a finish.
Try and get some of those precious points. Another transmission problem, I'm sure. This is Scott Steinberger. The only reason a guy would be doing this, trying to back up across the finish line or get back to the pits, is he's got some sort of a transmission problem. He's just only got reverse gear. Looks like Brian Collins. Brian Collins' truck with Dale White driving.
And Dale White takes the checkered flag and heads towards the finish line, winning Class 8 in the Chevy truck owned by Brian Collins. And Joe Hager wins in the Pro Truck class. Well, it was a great day of racing for both Hardaway and White. And when Dale White came in, we got a quick word with him.
It's so torn up, so dusty, so bad, it's just pouring over the hood, can't even see. But you know the track, it's a short track, so you just go.
Great win, congratulations.
Blind driving, that's so much fun, we had a blast.
Congratulations to Joe Hager for his first in Pro Truck class and second place overall in the truck division.
Tell me about your day. Did you have a good time?
Good time. Just a lot of dust out there right now. A lot of dust.
Herbst taking the last jump, the checkered flag, and the win in the unlimited truck class. Now this is combined finishes of both days' competition that determines the class winner. The race results from Group 6 found Ed and Tim Herbst winning the unlimited truck class. First in Class 8 limited full-size truck went to Brian Collins and Dale White, and Joe Hager was first in the Pro Truck class.
What a great weekend of racing. The Laughlin people really know how to put on a great event, Ivan.
They really do, Todd. Just like we predicted, great racing, fast, violent, but yet safe. I love it.
And I love to race in front of the spectators. Off-road racing, that's usually not the case. And also, it's a good opportunity to watch other races, watch other classes, and for the people to see some of the equipment that's influenced in the automotive industry. I mean, it's a great weekend. It's a great race for me.
Well, the next race in the Laughlin Score Desert Series is in Mexico, the Tecate Score San Felipe 250, held in San Felipe, Baja California. Be sure to check your local TV listings for the Speed Vision Desert Racing Series coverage of the race. On behalf of Ivan Stewart and Larry Rossler, I'm Todd Harris. Thanks for joining us in the Speed Vision coverage of the 1999 Laughlin Score Desert Challenge from Laughlin, Nevada. So long, everybody. If you'd like a videotape of this show, they are available for $19.95 plus tax and shipping. Call the number on the screen or check us out on our website.
The 1999 Laughlin Desert Challenge has been brought to you by the Laughlin Visitors Bureau and the Laughlin Visitors Committee, and by FabTech, the two-wheel drive suspension specialists. The Laughlin Desert Challenge is produced by Shoemaker Productions in association with Speed Vision Network.